So we have some interesting news that came out last night about the Packers and QB prospect Hendon Hooker. Let me read it for you, then give my thoughts on what's going on right here. So Matt Miller on Twitter at NFL Draft Scout said this last night. Tennessee quarterback Hendon Hooker met with the Saints today and has the Titans and Packers to close out this week. His schedule is packed pre-draft with visits. Does he go first round? Starting to think so. So even though the Packers have their plan to move on from Rodgers and Jordan Love, who has now been here for 3 years, learn the offense under Matt LaFleur, pick things up from Aaron Rodgers, the Packers still looking to likely add a quarterback in this year's draft. And I think that this isn't very shocking when you look at the past. Back in 2008, the year that Rodgers came in, the Packers drafted a second-round quarterback in Brian Brom, and then Matt Flynn in the 7th round as well. And I think when we look at the Packers' history, they always like to prepare for the future, just in case, because you didn't know what Aaron Rodgers was going to be. There was a chance he was great. There was a chance he wasn't great. And so Ted Thompson back then decides to draft 2 QBs, maybe in the off chance that Rodgers didn't become a great quarterback and they had another guy they could fall back on just in case. And now as we go into this 2023 draft for the Packers, it's very likely, I think, especially now seeing this news that the Packers are meeting with Hendon Hooker, the Packers at some point will probably take a QB. One reason, too, we don't really have a backup. We do have Danny Etling, but I assume the Packers want more than just Danny Etling on this roster at QB. And considering we can't predict the future, we don't know what Jordan Love is going to be. I think he's going to be great, but obviously we don't know the outcome of what's going to happen. And so I think to also have some kind of insurance is smart. Even though you don't want to, use that draft capital you maybe could have used on a weapon, it's good to prepare for the off chance that what you think is going to happen doesn't happen. So now the Packers are going to meet with Hendon Hooker later this week, and so now let's dive a little bit into Hendon Hooker as a prospect. So if we look at NFL Draft Buzz, they have tons of great draft stuff on there, but he is currently ranked as the 6th ranked quarterback by consensus rankings, taking like all different experts rankings like ESPN, PFF, tons of different things. So he's the 6th ranked QB and the 60th ranked player overall. If we look at his 3 or 4 college seasons here, you can see 2022, 3,100 yards, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 2021, 2,945 yards, 31 TDs, 3 interceptions. The good thing about Hooker is the fact that he rarely throws interceptions. He does a very good job of, not putting the ball in harm's way. And he's also pretty dangerous in the running game. If we look from 2020 to 2022, in 2020, 620 yards, 21, 620 yards, and then 2022, 430 yards. The sort of concern, I think, with Hendon Hooker is the fact that he's pretty old. He's already 25 years old, which is a year older than Jordan Love, which is pretty wild considering Jordan has already been here in the NFL for 3 seasons. So there's that slight concern. And then the other issue is the fact that he did tear his ACL in November. And with ACL injuries, you never know what's going to happen going forward in the future. Will that bother him? Will he be the same QB he once was? I guess you don't know for sure. Lots of times players do come back and are fine, but sometimes, guys can be a little bit different. So I think that's probably why as well that he isn't as highly ranked as maybe he would have been if he didn't tear his ACL. There are some experts, however, who do have a little bit more belief in what Hendon Hooker can be, one of whom is Chris Sims. I really enjoy watching some of his podcasts that he does, but he actually has Hendon Hooker ranked 3rd overall behind CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, and he has Anthony Richardson, I think, behind him at 4, and then Will Levis at 5 or 6. But let me read what Chris Sims has to say about Hendon Hooker. He says this: "Why is this guy not getting more buzz? What is there not to like? All I know is I saw a really good-looking, on-the-money, pocket-passing quarterback who makes great decisions, and, like CJ Stroud, is way more athletic than people are giving him credit for. And where he might be even better than CJ Stroud, and definitely better than Bryce Young, his ability to see over the line and throw over the line. Totally unaffected by the pass rush. He's consistently on the money throwing into tight coverage. If you're going off film, I don't know how he's not in the top quarterback conversation." So Chris Sims really likes how Hendon Hooker looked in his time in college, and even has him, as I said above, Anthony Richardson and Will Levis, who many people have as the 3 and 4 quarterbacks in this draft class. And I'm guessing just because of the injury concern, that is probably keeping people maybe a little bit lower on him than maybe they would be if he hadn't had that injury. And so when we look at the Packers scenario, if we look at where they could potentially take a QB, I really hope it's not round 1. I don't think that it's going to happen. I think that the Packers fan base, I think including myself, we probably lose our minds if they decided to take Hendon Hooker at 15. Because I think even though, of course, you want to have some kind of insurance plan, we got to first off, try to give Jordan Love the best possible chance of being a great quarterback, and that means giving him weapons. So whether that's a tight end, whether that's a wide receiver, and if we take an edge rusher in the first round as well, that would be fine as well. But to take a QB in the first round, I don't think that's going to happen. But crazier things, have they happened? Maybe not, but who knows? So first round, I would say absolutely not. Second round, I'd be less angry if we took him in the second round. I don't know if I would like it. I might be like, okay, I guess this is good. Because then you're basically just saying, Hendon Hooker will only really work out if Jordan Love stinks, which would already be a unfortunate scenario. I guess you could trade Hendon Hooker if Jordan Love is great, maybe get some capital in return in the future by how he looks in the preseason potentially. But I think I'd be more comfortable if we waited till at least the third round. The thing is, will he be there by then? Probably not. I've seen some people say that they do think he could go in round 1, maybe later in round 1. And so unless the Packers get another second round pick from the Jets, maybe in that scenario, I'm fine with it. But still, I'd rather use our first and second round picks on players who will help us right away, considering we're handing the reins over to Jordan Love. I would much rather take another tight end or wide receiver in the second round than draft a QB. But if we do look, as I said, to 2008, we did take Brian Braum in the second round, and I think we had a few other picks as well. Like I'm pretty sure if we look at 2008 Packers draft picks, I'll just pull it up right here. I do think we had like 2 or 3 draft picks in the second round. Yeah, because we took Jordy in the second round as well. And we had 3 second round picks in 2008. So it wasn't like we only had 1 second round pick and just decided to draft a QB. We picked Jordy Nelson at 36. Oh, we actually didn't have a first round pick this year. So Jordy Nelson, 36, Brian Braum, 56, then Patrick Lee, defensive back, in the second. And then actually we took Jermichael Finley in the third round. So we hit on Finley and Nelson. Braum didn't work out, of course. Aaron Rodgers luckily did work out. So I'd rather wait till the third round to see if Hendon Hooker would drop, and maybe the Packers are meeting with him just in the off chance that he is available. If teams decide to pass on him, maybe there's more value in the second or third round. As I said, I'd rather maybe third to wait to draft a QB, solidify some other areas of this team before we take another quarterback. But interesting news, and I definitely think, like before I was saying a few weeks on the channel, I did, talk about the fact that we'll probably draft a QB, just because we don't really have a backup besides Danny Etling, and we saw the Packers do that in 2008. And now, especially seeing this news, it gives me more confidence that we're probably definitely going to draft a quarterback, especially if there's some kind of value there in this draft. So we'll see when it is. Hopefully it's on the first round, because I think all of us may go crazy. But that's pretty much all I wanted to cover in this video. And also, if you guys have not subscribed to my Packers newsletter, yesterday and today I've written some things there. You can go check it out. Other thoughts on things as well. So feel free to subscribe to that down below. Subscribe to this Packers channel if you want to stay up to date with all news in video form. But that's all I have for this video, and I'll see you guys next time.